everyone, my name is Malvika Varadan and I'm very proud to bring you stories from around the world. Now this is a project by the Hive and Toddle and there are some very important rules to remember. Number one, listen really carefully to these stories. Number two, don't be afraid to pause this video and act along and follow the instructions, alright? And number three, right after we finish reading our stories, after our story time, don't forget to try out all the cool craft activities in your Toddle box and make sure that you get your hands dirty. Welcome back to Stories from Around the World, and today our story takes us all the way to Spain. And the name of the story is A Cloak of Golden Hair. Now all of us have different hair colors, right? Some of us have black hair, some of us have brown hair. I have friends who have red and purple hair, but this is a story about somebody who has golden hair. So let's find out what it's all about. A shepherd was looking after her family's sheep one day when she heard a wolf howling miserably. How do you think a wolf howls? Do you think you can imitate that for me? Ow! What's your best wolf imitation? Come on, go ahead and try it. She quickly rounded up her flock and was about to hurry home when the wolf came into sight. As he limped towards her, she noticed that there was a sharp thorn sticking into his paw, and the poor wolf looked so sweet and so sad that she stopped being afraid and she pulled it out. And what do you think the wolf's face looked like with that thorn? Ow, ow, ow. You know when a thorn goes into your finger, you have a face that you make? Can you try? The wolf thanked her with a lick and then trotted away into the trees. And it was only then that the girl noticed that all of her sheep were gone. So she looked around and she realized not one single sheep was there. She searched everywhere, but it was as if the whole flock had vanished into thin air. I bet that wolf had something to do with it, she thought, and she didn't dare go home without the sheep. So she followed the wolf's tracks to a cave. And when she had lost all her sheep, she was really scared, right? She didn't want to go home and tell her parents that she had lost all their sheep. So what did she do instead? She looked for where the wolf was and followed right through until she went to a cave. The girl sat outside the cave until sunset and the sky got darker. Can you look up and imagine a dark, dark sky? And the air got colder. How do we sit when the air gets colder? And at last, the wolf came out of the cave. "Where are my sheep?" asked the girl bravely. Can you put on a brave voice and ask that question? Where are my sheep? "A giant has taken them," the wolf said sadly. "It is the same giant who put the spell on me, so I must spend each day as a wolf." "What can break the spell?" asked the girl. "The giant will set me free if I bring him a cloak woven from the golden hair of a princess." Wow, this seems to be quite complicated. Now, is this wolf really a wolf? No, he's a person who's trapped as a wolf because of a spell, right? And the only thing that can set him free is a cloak, which is like a big jacket. Can you imagine a big jacket made out of golden hair of a princess? What is this little shepherd girl going to do? "It's an impossible task. If I go near the palace, then the guards throw rocks to drive me away," said the wolf. But the girl was very brave. She said, "I can get the hair for you and weave you a cloak from it too." Wow. So the girl went to the palace to work as a maid. And every morning she brushed the princess's long golden locks with a jeweled comb. And every evening she took that comb and she took out all the hair from it, all the sparkling hairs from the brush, and she carefully hid them away. She found that the princess was very, very, very lonely. "My brother disappeared 5 years ago," she said. "And since then, the king has forbidden me to leave the palace." I guess her dad, the king, was really scared because he'd already lost one of his children and he didn't want the other one to get lost too, right? So he kept the princess in this place, inside the palace, and never let her go out, which made her very sad and very lonely. It was like she was in permanent lockdown. Before long, the girl had collected enough golden hair to weave a glittering cloak, and she worked all through the night to finish the job, and then set off for the wolf's cave to show him her handiwork. Can you imagine holding a very big cloak? And how would you show it to somebody? You would like dust it like that, right? And you'd say, "This is my fabulous coat." "Get on my back," said the wolf as soon as she went to meet him. So the girl climbed on and she held tightly to the soft fur, and they raced to the giant's castle. Now, was the giant happy? Not at all. He wasn't happy to see the cloak. "But a deal is a deal, I suppose," he grumbled. "But I'm keeping the sheep." He waved the golden cloak over the wolf and he muttered some magic words to undo the spell. And in the blink of an eye, the wolf became a young man with a shimmering crown. Oh my God, that's the missing prince. That's why the princess was so sad. You remember, she was so lonely and she was so sad. Well, this is her brother. He was the one who was turned into a wolf. "I'd better take you to the palace," the girl said. But you see, she had still lost her sheep, right? Because the giant was not willing to give her her sheep back. The princess could hardly believe her eyes when she saw him. "This is my lost brother!" She was so grateful that she told the girl that she could have anything in the world. Can you imagine what that princess felt like when she saw her brother? She must have run through the palace gates and given him a big, tight hug. Can you give yourself a big, tight hug? And when the princess said that she could have anything she wanted, the little girl said, "I would just like a flock of sheep, please." So the princess gave her a beautiful flock of milk white sheep, and the girl set off happily for home, and she lived happily ever after with her sheep, while the brother and sister lived in the palace and had a wonderful life together. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the story. We hope you enjoyed that story, and we hope you enjoyed acting along. Now, don't forget to get your hands dirty and start doing all of the craft activities associated with that story. And remember, even if we can't get on planes and travel around the world, stories and words can help us go anywhere.